finally.
They're almost I'm Justine, Nagan, Executive Director of Kartemquin Films. We're a 48-year-old media arts nonprofit here in Chicago that has been collaborating with independent filmmakers to get social issue documentaries like the Homestretch out into the world. I want to thank everyone here and all of our sponsors, especially the MacArthur Foundation, on behalf of our staff, our filmmakers, and our board of directors. We have a long history with the MacArthur Foundation. They have funded many of our films, and very importantly, they've funded our organizational evolution over the years, and we are so incredibly grateful. They are also an immense leader in our field, and without the support of MacArthur for independent media and social issue documentary, I shudder to think what would happen. So thank you, MacArthur. It is my immense pleasure to introduce the filmmakers of this wonderful piece of art. Kirsten and Anne, if you could please come to the stage. Our other special guests this evening, Rocky and Maria and Kasey and Anthony. So to the filmmakers, could you just talk briefly, I know there's a handout in the programs, but what happens now? What happens with this film and what are your hopes for it?
Testing. Is this on? I did. Hello? I think they're going to change the slide up here, but and you all got handed a card. This is our call to action, and this is what we're launching today in Chicago. And it's all through our website, and you can go there and very quickly sign on to a series of letters that can make some serious change both locally and in the state. And you can also donate to our Cause Box campaign, which puts immediate emergency items into the hands of shelters like the Night Ministry's Crib, Teen Living Programs, Belfort House, and into the hands of the homeless liaisons in every single CPS school who can get them directly to the kids in need in a moment. So that's what we're doing right here, right now in Chicago. Do you want to answer the national?
Sure, and I think we can change the slide, Edgar? Great, so that's just an image of the link on our website under Take Action, under Get Involved. Nationally, we're really fortunate to be working with three extraordinary outreach partners who are in the audience here with us tonight. The National Network for Youth, John McBarnine is here, who's the Executive Director. The National Association for the Education of Homeless Children and Youth, and Barbara Duffield is here, she's raising her hand. And also with the True Colors Fund, and Gregory Lewis, I think, is in the house as well. And these three organizations are completely and utterly astonishing and tireless in the work that they do to advocate for homeless youth in Washington, D.C., and to educate people around the country. So you can find out a lot more about them on our website, and please support them as well.
Justine, I just want to quick before, because I think this is the only time we're ever really going to be able to do this, but tonight is so incredibly special because it's so many people in the audience helped us get to this point. And without an applause, we can't take a lot of time. Can everybody who was involved in helping us or in the filming of this documentary, please just stand up and look around? Because it's an incredible number of people that it takes to make a film like this. So stand up, please.
my temporary working permit, so I'm working on I started partnering with the National Network for Youth, and I'm part of their new National Youth Advocacy Council, which is awesome. And other than that, I'm just working to complete school, and trying to help the film as much as I can.
Well, me, I'm currently in my third department through La Casa Norte, and I'm an inspiring radio personality. I'm a freelance worker. I work here and there. I am a newly found leader of 2014 in the LGBTQ community. I was nominated 30 under 30 as a recognized leader throughout the community, so that's amazing to me. And I'm pretty much an advocate, so that's a new thing to me.
Well, for me, I'm still kind of doing the same things too. I'm currently, well, tomorrow I'll actually be graduating out of the TLP program, team leader program, so shout out to them. Still working in school and trying to get my son back, trying to still, get myself together so I can still be there, and that's all I'm really doing right now. So.
I'm happy to see Rocky in his second year of college, and I'm parenting and teaching. It's been very exciting.
So we have two microphones up in front here. Actually, are we going to run them? Yeah. We will come find you. So just raise your hand if you have a question for anyone up here. Don't be shy. Oh, there you go.
Hi, this question is for Anthony. Anthony, I'm curious about, the last we saw you had a court date about your son. So what was it that they were looking for, and that they thought you weren't ready for custody yet?
Yeah, because there's a lot of things I still need to work on. So it was services they gave me, like parenting, classes and all that stuff. And the one thing that the course really wanted me to do was like finish team in this program. So that's one thing they told me to finish as part of my services. So now I'm finishing that, and I'm just trying to I'm moving on to TLP, so I'm trying to make sure that I'm stable and everything, so that I can, be there.
I think we just saw some amazing stories, and I think you're just incredibly not only courageous people, but real role models for us, both outside of the community that you're in, and then those of us who've seen the community that you're in. But I'm wondering about people that, this is to the filmmakers, but perhaps to everybody, the people that you didn't choose that you might have followed for the film, but wound up not being in the film, where there are people that we didn't see, and how come they didn't make it into the film, or tell us a little bit about those people.
We went down the road of following around a dozen different young people over the course of filming. And the process of choosing these three extraordinary people up here was very organic. One of the things that we wanted to be sure of along the way was that the journeys, that the young people we were working with, it was always a positive thing for them to be sharing their journey with us. And as you have seen and as you can imagine, in the lives of young people who are going through homelessness and trying to transition out of it are very volatile. And there are a lot of issues that people don't feel comfortable sharing, that maybe it's not a good thing to share. We had one young man who was the last person to get cut from the film, who we still miss in the film, who just disappeared on us. And for a long time he was in the film because he disappeared, and because of what the social workers kind of processing how to handle that and whether to give up his room. There was a great scene that was cut with two people who were sitting right over there, with Dr. Rosella Barnes and Calvin Fortenberry, who were a teen living program at the time, trying to decide whether or not they could hold his room for him. And that was it was hard for us to lose that from the movie, but ultimately you want to create a story that is rounded and that gives people a sense of the overall picture, and these three stories really did that. So,
and I would just say that I think some of each of the 12 people we went down the road with, I mean, they're in the fabric of this film. And, along with the counselors and the social workers and the teachers and liaisons that we worked with, I mean, it's like we spent so much time with Coach P at Julian and Pat at Crosshair, and they might be in there just a few minutes, but what they gave us, or what the kids who even aren't in here gave us in terms of depth and understanding and empathy, that all translated, I feel, to all of you who are in the film.
One more thing on that is that we really also wanted to show that there are a million reasons why young people become homeless. It's not just one story. We wanted to show that it can happen for a number of different reasons, and that the journey out is really different for every person. So that's another reason why we chose the journeys we did.
Other questions?
Hi. I have a question for the three subjects. I was wondering if you all could talk a little bit about the experience of being filmed over the years while also experiencing being homeless. Having a camera follow you around for any reason is already stressful enough. I'm sure there's a lot of stress while dealing with that while also adding a lot of other things.
You don't know how many times we have been asked this question. And I'm going to answer it the exact same way. It was natural for me. I mean, it was so I am a character and I like being on camera. It was really natural for me because they made it comfortable for me to be in front of the camera. It wasn't even like the camera was there. They were just talking to me. The camera was running, but they were just having a regular conversation with me. They was actually getting to learn me and wanted to know more about me, wanted to be there, important parts of my life, which is more than a couple of my family members did at that time. So it made me feel really good. So when they came to me and they was like, well, Kasey, can we film you at this time? Kasey, can we film you at that time? Sure, come on. As long as you got some ears to listen, we good. So, it was just really cool at the time. You see where it got me now?
For me, it was a little bit more awkward than for Kasey. As you can tell. But I think that, like Kasey said, they gave us that sense of comfort, like being comfortable with them, so we could talk about anything. And even though if it was awkward for me at the beginning, I always felt that I did want to open up to them, and they made me feel that way. So I think it was like any relationship you had with a person, you just have to get familiar with them. I did.
I would agree with them. Probably it was awkward because they asked to speak with me one time, and it was like every time after that they wanted to see me and know what I was doing. So I really didn't start thinking about I'm homeless, people gonna see this and stuff like that until later in the film. But then I thought about all the things I was doing, so I was like, okay, this kind of balances out. At least I did something with myself by being in this situation. So it's pretty cool.
So, when I watch this film and I hear all of you speak, I am just struck by the immense number of strengths that you display. So, my question to the three of you, the stars of our film, is if you had one gift or one strength that you could gift to someone else that's helped you along the way, that you've uncovered in yourself, what would that be?
Well, that thing, for me, it would actually be two things. It would be care and humbleness. Because when I became in that situation, I learned a lot about myself. And I learned how to become humble with situations. And I learned how to care for other people who were in my situation, because I was homeless prior to being on my own with my family. And I used to think a totally different way. But when I became homeless on my own, I just was like, yeah, I gotta think differently because everybody's situation isn't the same. So when it comes to that, I think that gift will be just knowing who people are as a human and genuinely caring about them and not judging them by their situations and just getting to know them. And then you could see how you can help somebody just by learning their personalities or what they've been through in life.
I think from all the things that I've had, like Maria, or like the courage to act or anything that I've gone through in my life, I think trust is the one that I would give to people. Because if it wasn't for my trust or my open-mindedness to trust, I would have never have taken Maria's offer. I would have rejected it in the spot, and that would have been different, and we wouldn't be here, or I wouldn't be here. And the movie's great, yeah. But I think trust yourself and trust people that want to help.
I would kind of say like knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, because I feel like through my whole life and my situation, I learned from every experience. Watching people, like watching and Kirsten make the movie. I used to take notes on what they were doing, the things they were teaching me and stuff like that. So it was just like learning from their experience and knowing everything around me happens for a reason. So, knowing the situation I was in and knowing that it was a way to get out and being resourceful. So
these films take a long time, and I'm wondering, Kirsten and Anne, if you could talk just a little bit. We heard from Julia earlier about how the film initially came about, but if you could talk a little bit about how long it took and how it evolved over time, the journey you went on with your editor, Leslie, how we got to this film.
Well, Kirsten brought the subject to my attention. I'm actually not a teacher with the Chicago Shakespeare Theater. Kirsten does that program and she's amazing in it. But we started talking about this film, making this film back in the fall of 2009. So that's 5 years ago. And our first film shoot was actually with Pat Scott in May of 2010. When we started the project, it was just us. And the very first kind of people that came on board with us, Sundance Film Institute gave us a small developmental grant. And that was what got us started. And we worked and we filmed and we cut a lot of demos. And then we got and applied to the MacArthur Foundation. And they saw what we were doing. And it was an extraordinary day, the day we got the news that they gave us the grant. And we had been working with Kartemquin for a little while as our creative advisors at that point, but we didn't really have enough funds to cut the film or to really start going into serious production. And when the MacArthur funds came in, that all changed. And they came on as a full co-producer. We got to work with the crazy talented Leslie Simmer as our editor, who's in the house, who deserves a round of applause. And we really were able to dive in with both feet. And I don't know if you want to talk about the next steps in this.
That really gave us the big go, and so we really put everything into the next 3 years after that point to, we committed early on to really wanting to take a long time with this film. Originally, we had thought we were going to follow several youth through the graduation point, and we got to the graduation point with several youth, with Kasey and a few others, and we saw how things kind of fell apart in a way because we began seeing this arc, right? School was home. School was the most consistent place. And school was on the front lines of these. The teachers and liaisons were the consistent adults in these kids' lives. And when graduation happened, literally the next day, often things fell apart. There was this glorious kind of triumph, and then, you know, just this, like, what am I going to do next? And it's interesting because there is a report of how many kids from CPS get accepted to college, but a majority of those kids don't actually stay in college. They don't have the support, the family, to really make that huge transition. So as you see, just the amount of incredible resilience and effort each of these 3 young people are doing. We met so many kids. So we wanted to tell that part of the story. So we kept filming. And so it took us a long, long time, and many of you were asking, like, when is this going to happen? But we needed to tell that big chunk of the story.
Thank you. We have time for 2 or 3 more questions. Way in the back.
Hi, I have a question for Maria. Did you get any sort of pushback or fallout from CPS by being a teacher and having a student live with you?
You don't know.
I will say that, Rocky was 18, turned 18 very early on in that process, and it was important to us to show this incredible family, including Bobby and your girls. Like, we're really taking this young man who had nowhere else to go in.
Also, because of Rocky's immigration status, there were a lot of things that stood in the way from us doing this the way some people would like it to be done. So we made a decision, and Ann and Kirsten were very supportive in respecting my privacy and wishes and job. In deciding that morally I could not live with the situation, and whatever was going to happen is going to happen. But I wasn't going to leave him another night. And we had a family and a place for him to be. It wasn't me on my own in an apartment. You know, there were a lot of things that fell into place that supported him being with us. And I felt like I could defend my position easily. And especially to myself and to my children. What we did was the right thing, and I would do it again.
Yes, I think that this is such a beautiful and well done film, and it's so important. And I just would like to hear a little bit about your plans about how you're going to use it as one of the tools in helping to end homelessness for youth and others. You know, what are the plans for promoting it? How can groups use it? What are, where, all those things.
Yeah, we have an incredible team of people working on just that very thing. We have Erin Sorensen, who's our impact producer, who is really strategizing locally and nationally to have the film be used in incredible ways. I mean, we're working with community organizations, school groups, we're working with tons of foundations, and if you want to become involved, please get in touch with us. We have an incredible national campaign that's going to be launching soon, and it will go to the top 15 cities in the United States who have the highest numbers of homeless youth. So it's really going to get out there.
And also, just kind of the cherry on top of all of this is that we will have a national public television broadcast of this film in April of 2015. On Independent Film. So, hurrah!
And next spring, you'll have an incredible community cinema event right here in Chicago, and there'll be a town hall, and there'll be lots of education discussions happening around the broadcast in April. So we're really excited about that. And there's someone's going 40. You say it.
40th anniversary.
Oh, there's the 40th anniversary of the Runaway Homeless Youth Act. And it's that's happening in November, which is National Homeless Youth Awareness Month. So much to remember. And there's going to be a ton of activities in D.C. and advocating for federal, local, and state legislation. So join us.
And the film opens at Cisco on Friday. So please tell all your friends.
Hi, everyone. This is more of a comment than a question. I just wanted to take the opportunity for all of us, for all the liaisons, and people that work in the Students for Temporary Living Situations in Chicago Public Schools. I have some very good friends here from Chicago Coalition for the Homeless in the audience tonight, and of course, my very good friend and the person that runs the program, Amber Demro, is here with us tonight. I would like to thank Kirsten and Nagan for making this film. Just very simply, you brought awareness to things that have been so close to my heart and so many of us over the years. I've been doing this since 1995, and I love you guys. You're my friends. You have opened the doors, and I thank you so much.
Supported the film and funded the film along the way, and thanks to all of our sponsors and staff who made tonight possible. The filmmakers will be out in the lobby for a few minutes afterwards if you have additional questions. Have a great night.